Are you a gambling man?
I don't gamble, no.
You don't gamble? Well, you are gambling, because you probably have seen the Times newspaper, just as I have. The Treasury's top officials still insist the likelihood is, if indeed it comes to pass that 2 years from March 2017, Britain is there with a trade relationship with the EU, which is nothing more than the basic WTO model, the Treasury says it could cost Britain more than £60 billion a year.
That report they did in April.
And you tell me you're not a gambling man?
The same report that the then Chancellor actively got them to do, the one that looked only at the downsides of what could possibly happen, that didn't
So you're prepared to gamble, the Treasury is entirely
hold
wrong.
on a second.
So you are one heck of a gambling. You are one heck of a gambling man.
I'll tell you who's gambling is the Treasury when they produce a report that doesn't do an upside. Every economic report has a downside.
But even if they do an upside, you have to acknowledge the downside risk is there, and that's the gamble.
Hang on, let's have a look at the upside. The upside of what happens when the UK increases its value of trade around the world. The reason why the Treasury report on the 12th of April was so discredited, because it was wholly political, it was produced to support a Remain vote. That was their criticism at the time. It remains. And for them, if this is the case, for them to suddenly dust this back off again and produce it as though this was tablets of stone written by God Almighty to tell you exactly how the world will be in a few years' time, I find it really quite risible.
Well,
my point is, this is not a gamble. It's gambling when all you do is load the dice deliberately to try and tell everybody how bad things will be.
I'm trying to figure out who you listen to. You won't listen to Merkel and Hollande because you say they're politicians. They're simply playing politics because they've got elections coming up. You won't listen to the Treasury because you say the Treasury's stuck in a time warp. They haven't accepted June 23rd.
It was highly criticised back then.
OK, so you won't accept them either. Will you accept those businesses which are voting with their feet? The Russian bank in London, which says it's no longer going to expand its London operations, it's going to move to Europe because of what's happening in the UK right now today. Carlos Ghosn, the boss of one of the biggest car companies in the world, who says that unless he is guaranteed that he'll get compensation if indeed we go to WTO trade rules, he's not going to invest anymore in the UK. Will you listen to all of the business leaders who say that in their real world experience, what is happening right now is going to hurt their businesses?
Of course I listen to what business leaders say, and I listen to all of them too, by the way. And just like the JCB today, walking out of the CBI as our biggest export manufacturer in Britain, who says don't agree at all with the CBI's position on this, believe actually that leaving the European Union will be a positive to us. There's a balance of opinion out there. What tends to happen at the moment is you get only one side. Business is as divided as anybody else.